a goal! Can you believe it? It's extraordinary.
What in Adelaide, listen to Bernie Vince. A Brisbane midfielder torches Port Adelaide again, and Blighty inducts his next member into his Hall of Fame. This is your home for footy in South Australia. You're watching Footy SA. Good evening and welcome to Footy SA. Wasn't a great weekend for both the South Australian clubs. Bernie Vince is in the house as always. Bernie, disappointing?
It was a bit of a disappointing weekend for SA footy, but back on the horse this week. There's always next week in footy, you know that.
We've got to dissect what happened over the weekend with our Kia big moment. So let's start the show with that. The V6 Twin Turbo Kia Stinger is the Western Australian car of the year. What a machine it is. And we'll start with Adelaide because they went in at three-quarter time with all the momentum. Lynch kicked a goal on three-quarter time, just 3 points down with the home crowd behind them. And this is what happened. It was a disaster in the fourth quarter, Bernie.
Yeah, well, you know, they're probably lucky to be still in it at three-quarter time, I felt. It was just the trend of the game. I felt like Geelong were probably dominating the game, but in saying that, they had their chances, and Crouch had a chance to even the scores early in that last quarter, and I think Geelong kicked the next 4 or 5 goals to stamp their authority on the game. So disappointing to finish that way, but I guess they can be happy they found a way to stay in it for so long.
Geelong were very good, no doubt about that. Let's take a look at some of the individuals who let them down in the last quarter. There you have it. Jenkins and Hartigan didn't touch it. Walker just one handball. Atkins, Knight, McKay with 2. Betts is struggling. He only had 3 possessions. And the ball magnet, Matt Crouch, just 4. What responsibility is on their shoulders? Because there's some senior figures in that list.
There are, and you look to your senior players, don't you, in key moments in the game. And obviously, they let them down, so looking for a response this week, no doubt. One
of the forwards from Adelaide that was really disappointing was Josh Jenkins, and he started the season slowly, just 3 goals so far in 2019. This was frustrating, Bernie. I know it's easy watching from the stands, but he continually opted to play from behind, and Geelong defenders, you can see there, Blixarve, Stewart, Henderson, had a field day.
Yeah, he's probably looking for the one over the back a bit too much. So at times you need to just come at the footy, and that frustrates a coach when you're playing continually from behind, as we're seeing here. So yeah, he needs to obviously lift, and again, playing from behind, I think he took 1 contested mark early on, but apart from that, too much behind.
Does the coach have time, surely, to get the message out? You know, when he's done it once or twice, Josh, get in front, play in front, best forwards play in front.
There's no runners now, Kane, so how do you get that out there?
After the goals.
Bit of footy now, maybe, just to think of it. Surely Josh can think of it himself.
You think so? You'd hope there's a response from Josh Jenkins this week. Now, let's turn our attention to the Port Adelaide game. Once again, probably a game they may have won, but this man, the new recruit from Fremantle, Lachie Neale, was just unbelievable. 43 disposals, 16 clearances, Lachie Neale, and they just had no answers for him. He's probably got 9 votes in the Brownlow medal already. Absolute
superstar, Lachie Neale, and very underrated, I reckon, across the competition. He has been a very good player for a long time now, and yeah, he dominated, didn't he? I think he had 40-odd the week before as well. Against North Melbourne, so he's in ripping form, and surely you'd put someone to him.
Why don't they?
Why wouldn't you put someone to him after he come off last week, having, I think, 44 against North? Surely you look at him. It's
unforgivable for me because there is his last 5 matches against Port Adelaide. Now, clearly, 4 of those were for Fremantle. Ken Hinkley knows this guy pretty well. He averages 37 in his last 5 games against Port Adelaide, 10 clearances.
10 clearances.
Dominant, yet the coach of Port Adelaide ignored it and showed him a lack of respect, and he paid for it again. Almost, he kicked the winning goal as well, Lachie Neale.
Who goes to him out of that Port Adelaide midfield?
You know
or do
what
you pick someone to come in?
You weren't a natural tag when you first came in. You're a half-backer, you went into the midfield, but you were able to play a disciplined role and sacrifice your game. So, firstly, you need to task a player with that job and just say, I don't care how many you get. Worry about the ball second. Your job is to stop him on the night. And if they did that, I'm sure they would have won.
Yep. Well, Adelaide probably need to look at doing that as well because they don't really have a stopper either or a designated go-to player. So something both SA teams need to probably have a look at.
Yeah, we're going to look at Dangerfield's performance a little bit later on at the Plasma, so stay tuned for that. Dougal Howard came in for his first game of the year for Port Adelaide. They started him down back. It was a dirty, dirty night for the defender who was pretty good last year. This one he'd be really disappointed with, Bernie, because it's Hipwood. He's not a big powerhouse forward. He's more of a forward that gets on the lead. Brushed off there. This one, once again, not sure if he's concerned about the knee injury in the past, but we'll have another look at this. This is a ruckman running around Dougal Howard like it's the first day of pre-season. Be disappointed with that. Once again, Hipwood, he kicked 6, had an absolute field day, 5 goals in the first quarter. And then there was just the basic skill errors, which, you know, happen in a game, but it wasn't a great performance from Dougal Howard. We'll wait and see whether he holds his spot this week. Of course, that one there, late in the game, he kicked it out on the full. So a dirty, dirty night for Dougal, unfortunately. Bernie's at the Plasma for the biggest moments from the weekend. It's the Kia Top 7, Kia home to Australia's best, 7-year factory warranty. Always entertaining, Bernie. Make us laugh.
Well, I need to get us up. We're a bit flat. 2 teams lost on the weekend.
Lift.
So let's go. Let's lift. Now, I want to touch on a little bit about the stretcher on Thursday night. So we'll touch on this a little bit.
Who is that?
That's Steve McAvaney.
Come on,
one of the
Steve.
trainers.
Get out
there, Steve. Come on. Anyway, in the meantime, we'll look at Keziah Pickett here. Watch this for a grab.
He's your man.
Oh, big grab. Byron Pickett's nephew, I think.
Yep.
Hang on, we'll just check in on the stretchers. 4 minutes in, so they've just got the card on the ground, helping out the Smackavaney.
Oh,
here we go. Look at that
that's
for a snap in the warm-up.
Didn't
need to save that for the moment
rub
when
off
you
in
get
the
a
game.
game.
Don't waste them.
Okay. Oh, that stretcher update. What up to? 10 minutes. We just got to the player on the ground. Stretcher's there. Steve Smackavaney's
Go on,
there.
Steve.
Come on, get him up, Steve. Right, what do we got? Oh, Koshy stuck in the lift. Now, this is your CEO.
I was concerned. He nearly ran out of oxygen. He nearly ran out of oxygen.
Concerns, and they're acting very poor.
We nearly lost him.
And number 1, let's just check it. And surely gets on the car. Oh no, he doesn't even use the stretcher. And this is only part of it. If you keep tracking this cart, it's like trying to leave an establishment for me when my wife's trying to get me out of there. Just stopping here, stopping. We'll go over to this group, that group. How long can I stay here for? Mate, get the cart off, get the player off. Get him inside.
Get off, Steve. Well played, Bernie. Outstanding as always. That was your Kia Top 7. Massive show coming up. We're about to show you some extraordinary vision of the Crows letting Dangerfield do as he pleased. Also, Blighty induct someone into his Hall of Fame. Stay with us. You're watching Footy SA. Battles of Dangerfield are legendary. In a couple of words, how do you stop him?
Bashing. 2 words, couple.
There you go. Bashing.
Happy danger, is he? They have come here big time with a plan to upset the Crows, not to just follow the script that everyone thinks is going to play out.
Bernie Vince trying to ruffle a few feathers. Jacobs got the last tap onto that. Dangerfield could be holding the ball.
Tackle. Yeah. Bernie Vince has gone on to Dangerfield and he has taken it on himself to get under his skin, to be physical, and I'll tell you what, it's working because it's upsetting Dangerfield.
Dive there by Dangerfield.
It was, wasn't it?
Well, that was the advice from Bernie last week on how to successfully play on Patrick Dangerfield, and he backed it up with his actions. Clearly, the Crows weren't watching because this vision we're about to roll is extraordinary. If you're a tagger, the last thing you want is a game's best midfielder getting in behind you. You must be behind them, pushing them into the contest. So let's roll the vision on what Adelaide did to Patrick Dangerfield on Thursday night. We'll start here. Matt Crouch, ball hunting. Let's Dangerfield get behind him. Start of the game, no respect whatsoever. Same again here. Brad Crouch, the brother. Dangerfield behind them. He wins another stoppage. This is unforgivable. This is unbelievable. If I'm on the board at the Adelaide Crows, I want to know from Don Pike how the game's best player has that much time in space to do as he pleased. It happened all night. We're going to see this one again here. Watch Matt Crouch get sucked into the ball with his ball goggles on. That's selfish. He wants the ball himself. Once again, Dangerfield out the back, dances around. Another inside 50. He had 12 inside 50s on the night. And Brad, Geelong are going that way. There's no one coming in for protection off the back of the square with the new rules. Off you go, waltz through, critical time of the game. Dangerfield, another clearance, another inside 50 and another goal. The way that they played him and the lack of respect Adelaide showed Patrick Dangerfield was extraordinary, and Don Pike should have some serious questions to ask about his team and his midfield's performance on the weekend. Let's have a look at his numbers, Bernie, because it was a pretty influential game.
Yeah, phenomenal game from Danger, and surprising that no one went to him. But 32 disposals, 12 inside 50s, as you mentioned, but 10 clearances as well, which him breaking away from centre clearances especially is so dangerous, and he scored, or the team scored off the back of a lot of them. So, yeah, I don't know why they keep just letting Danger go.
Yeah, well, the common thread is he's too powerful. You can't stop him. But you've shown, and other people have shown, that you can. If you have a disciplined approach, you're prepared to sacrifice your game. You can't nullify him completely, but you can limit his influence.
At least give him something to deal with. Make him think differently, because at the moment, or in that game on Thursday night, he just did what he wanted and stood where he wanted, took off when he wanted, and basically did what he pleased all night. So at least put someone on him, give him something physical, give him something to deal with.
I was wrong last week. You were right. I won't say that too often, but you doubted Adelaide and whether they could play the big fella Riley O'Brien in Sam Jacobs' absence, and you were completely right, because we're seeing it here. He was outclassed, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was outclassed all night, and I'm not even too worried about that set shot, which was disappointing for him. It's more his ruck work, and he just got dominated, and that's why guys like Dangerfield were cleaning up in there, and Dowerhouse and everyone else, Selwood. They had a night out because they were given first use.
So some reports, Bernie, that Adelaide are into South Australian Brodie Grundy. Of course, he's got 1 year to go at Collingwood and will become a free agent. Would you support that?
Oh, 100%. He's a super... All Australian ruckman last year.
You've got to pay him big bucks.
You'd have to pay him big bucks, and you'd give up what you gave up for Bryce Gibbs, wouldn't you? You give up 2 first-round picks for a quality ruckman who's got some good footy ahead of him.
Absolutely. One man who perhaps, unfortunately, doesn't have a lot of good footy in front of him. We hope still, because he's an absolute champion, has been for so long. About to play game number 300 soon, but he's off Eddie Betts, unfortunately. They started him up the ground to get him involved, and he had, I think, 6 or 7 possessions in the first quarter, but after that, he was all at sea, and now we're seeing a trend, just 29 goals last year, and he struggled early parts this year. Yeah,
it's not so much the possessions I look at with Eddie, it's the pressure, the forward pressure he puts on, the tackling, and he's just missed some sodas, really, some easy goals, and you expect him to kick. You know, he kicks them from everywhere on the ground, let alone right in front. But he's just missed some uncharacteristic goals, Eddie, and I worry about him.
So do I. Let's look at your votes, because it's always interesting to see which way you went. It's for Repco, your local mechanic with nationwide backing. Repco, book your next car service at repcoservice.com.au. There's your top 5.
Well, you've just given Brad Crouch a whack for not being accountable, so I've given him the 5 votes.
Oh, no, I thought he was good in the role, but at times when he needed to play defensive, he wasn't able to do. But that's his game, isn't it? He's a see-ball, get-ball midfielder.
It's probably not his role to come in and be that defensive guy, but I thought Matt Crouch was outstanding as well. Kicked a really crucial goal there I think late in the third quarter to put him in touch. Alex Keith just keeps performing solid week in, week out. And Wayne Miller, I think, was my 1 vote. But my screen's gone, so I don't know what my last one was.
I think it was having a good year. Wayne Miller, Adelaide's best young player. It's that time of the show where Malcolm Blight inducts another member into his Hall of Fame. Member number 3 coming up. It's all thanks to Amy. Lucky you're with Amy. And it's very lucky for someone that I know pretty well that he's in Blighty's Hall of Fame. Thanks to Amy.
I first ran across Graham Corns playing for Glenelg. I was playing for Woodville at the time. He was taking hangers down one end, and I think I might have been taking hangers down the other end. But he certainly got my attention as a really good player. And finally, when I played state football, I ended up being a teammate of Graham's, and we had some terrific times playing state football together. But he also came to North Melbourne and played a season there when I was playing at North Melbourne, so he was a genuine teammate. One of the favourite memories of Graham in that time he stayed at North Melbourne was his clothes. He was impeccably dressed. He wore the best coats I'd ever seen on anybody. The boys just loved it. A wonderful player, probably most remembered for a great mark late in the 1973 grand final in which Glenelg won with that kick of his. A marvellous mark, great goal. Became a very successful coach at Glenelg, and also the inaugural coach of the Adelaide Crows. The fact his 2 boys, Chad and Kane, ended up playing for his arch rival Port Adelaide is an amazing story in itself. I think when you look at their records, maybe Graham has just got the 2 boys, both very good players, but the legend is Graham Corns.
Centre wing, Corns up, oh what a mark! Oh what a magnificent web!
Graham Corns, welcome to Blighty's Hall of Fame.
swear that was you with a bit longer hair on there then. How's Dad pretty happy you both sons went to Port Adelaide? Or?
Yeah, no, he was wrapped with that.
Wrapped.
And bloody 305 AFL games between me and my old man, so I'm not sure he's got the better career, but there it is, Gavin Wanganeen, Ben Hart and the old man, Graham Corns. All thanks to Amy. Lucky you're with Amy. Stay tuned to Footy SA. Heaps coming up. We're going to dive into Port Adelaide's disappointing loss to Brisbane on Saturday night. It's coming up next. This is Footy SA, doing it all thanks to Kia, home to Australia's best 7-year warranty and OTR. Kick goals and tackle life's problems with OTR and their 24-hour convenience. Bernie is at the plasma again for our OTR giveaway. Kick goals and tackle life's problems with close to the siren with OTR 24-hour convenience. That squeaky noise put me off for a second there. Bernie, what did you pick up this week?
That was just my shoes, Dad. I want to talk about a former teammate of yours and his unbelievable work rate. Now, we've got some behind-the-goals footage of him, and he just works his backside off work week in, week out. And I've played on this guy, and you just cannot keep up with him. Have a look here. Gets a touch at half-back. It's not even how much he gets involved, it's how many contests he gets to. Look at this. He gets one hit. Geez, that fast-forwarded on me there. But here he is in the forward pocket again and still getting involved.
So he got 4 possessions then?
I think he even got 5. But here, again, at half-back, gives it, doesn't give up on the play, keeps working. Have a look at the Brisbane midfielders that drop off him. Runs past Zorko, past these guys, still gets involved again. And I don't think he's done yet. He gets involved again at half-forward. So here he is from the centre bounce, makes a defensive tackle,
this is brilliant.
gives, runs forward hard. Look at this, no one going with him. And no one can go with him because he runs so hard. But this time he gets rewarded with a goal. Mind you, tumble punt that goes through, but he doesn't get, if he don't get to that contest, he doesn't get the opportunity. And his work rate, I've called a few of the Port games this year, and if you're at the game, just have a look at Travis Boak's work rate because it's unbelievable.
It's been a terrific move, putting him back in the midfield. Great stuff, Bernie. That was your OTR takeaway. OTR are making life easy. Time now for the votes from Saturday night's game. In fact, before we get to the votes, let's look at one of the young guns from Port Adelaide, because we spoke about him last week and I asked you, out of the top 4, Bernie, who's going to be best? I think we got our answer on Saturday night. This guy, there's goal number 1. I thought he was the one Port Adelaide player that came with a real intensity about him right from the start. Now, Port Adelaide started slowly. He's 19 years of age, the youngest Port Adelaide player now to kick 5 goals, but he almost won it again for them.
He did, and he probably should have kicked 6. He had a snap that landed short that was online too, but super exciting for the footy club. A guy in his first year to be able to do this, unbelievable. And we haven't seen that for a while for both teams.
Outstanding performance from Connor Rozee, and we will look at those votes, as I mentioned, and clearly that young man is going to feature prominently. It's your Repco SA Player of the Year, your local mechanic with nationwide backing of Repco. Book your next car service at repcoservice.com. Rozee, Power Pepper, I thought was outstanding. Your man, Travis Boak, thought Jonas was solid down back, and it was hard to come up with a 5th, but I thought Zach Butters with his 20 possessions was pretty solid once again as well. A man who has just been into the teddy bear biscuits in the back studio wearing his casual clothes today is Nathan Brown for Sportsbet. For all AFL matches this week with Sportsbet, if your team goes 12 up at any break, you get paid out as a winner. Casual day, is it?
It is certainly casual day. How good is it when you rock up here and there's chocolate teddy bear biscuits? Not just teddy bear biscuits, they have the chocolate coating on them, which I love. Let's get into some odds right now. And the premiership market, first of all. Look at Collingwood and Geelong. Geelong was $17 at the start of the season. You got Adelaide and Port Adelaide down there, but I reckon West Coast are going to be very, very hard to beat. Rolling along to the Brownlow medal, and Lachie Neale, $6, second favourite for the Brownlow. He was $81 at the start of the year, possibly 8 or 9 votes. I think he's definitely got 2-3 voters and maybe even another one. So he is going to be very hard to beat. 34 into 18 for Andrew Gaff after his first game as well. Now, this is the one. I told you last week, Connor Rozee was 17 last week. I said, get on him, anything could happen. He was $1.90 last week, out to $2.25. So Connor Rozee, the money has come in a big way for that young man. Let's have a look at a couple of games coming up this weekend. And Port Adelaide, $1.60 yesterday. Now the results, they're into $1.39. Friendless, the Tigers at the moment, can't back them. Even with Kane's money, he's got a lot of it too. He's got a tennis court at his house. But first goal scorer, Tommy Lynch. Connor Rosie was the first goal scorer. In fact, Port Adelaide haven't kicked the first goal of the game this year yet. But
right?
Connor Rosie kicked their first goal on the weekend after 4 to the Brisbane Lions. And the next game is Adelaide-North Melbourne. North Melbourne are no good. I watched them last week. I tipped into North Melbourne. I thought they were okay. They are no good. Adelaide will win that game as well. And the total points over or under, North can't score. They're no good at scoring. Ben Brown's walking around like a giraffe at the moment. I'm going to go the unders in that game of 181. Have I got anything else to talk about? I have the 12 up promo. If you go 12 points up at any break, we're going to pay you out as a winner. It's a ripper promo, Kane.
You watch the Tigers pretty closely.
Yep.
They can't win either. No Rance, no Martin, no Rewalt, no Short, no Caddy. The list goes on. So Port Adelaide and Adelaide should both be winning this week, according to you?
Without a doubt. I would have a multi on Port Adelaide and Adelaide this weekend.
Well played, Brownie. As always, conditions apply with Sportsbet, but gamble responsibly. Big segment coming up next. What did we notice? What's Kane's clanger this week? Could be something to do with this man. You're watching Footy SA right here on Channel 9, and it's all thanks to Kia, home to Australia's best 7-year factory warranty and OTR, making life easy. Well, earlier on, we gave you a big pump up for the work that you did on Patrick Dangerfield, but this came to our attention during the week as well. Try and explain what you're doing here. Nice clearance, mate, but you kicked it the wrong way.
That's minus meters gained.
You kicked it to your best mate.
Oh, well, I
That's
just
match
thought,
fixing.
Tex, you're having a bit of a quiet day, mate. I'll get you into the game. And I just thought, you know what? I'll do it for the crowd. They were booing me and they cheered for that, so I was happy.
First and only time you kicked it backwards?
No, I've done a few of them. I just forget. Mate, I'm just simple. I see the footy and then I panic and think, that way. Just a guess.
Too many head knocks. That was the clanger for this week. Tune in to SEN and you can catch up on the best bits of tonight's show right there on the SEN app. It's magnificent. All the news, all the audio, all the vision that you need to keep up to date with everything AFL and this show. Get on the App Store and download that today. This week's matches, they're big ones, particularly when you lose. You never want to lose 2 in a row, that's obvious. But how do you see Adelaide and North Melbourne?
I think, as Brownie said, I think they both win. Bit of a danger game, I think, for both sides, though. They need to not just think it's going to happen like they have in the past. I think it's a danger game, especially for Port Adelaide at home. Richmond backs against the wall. Thought
on who could replace Paul Seedsman? Is it a young Gallucci or is it Ellis Yeoman who's in good form?
I think Ellis Yeoman's been in really good form in the SNFL, so I'd put him in.
See you next week. Thanks for joining us. We've had a lot of fun. We'll do it all again next Monday night.